Hey, welcome to Game Dev Weekly. If you're new here, I'm working on Hydroneer, a mining game where you dig for gold and other resources to build massive mining machines. If you like the look of Hydroneer, check out the Steam link in the description below. You can add it to your wishlist, or if you want to play it now, head over to the Patreon. For a minimum of $2, you can check out the game. This week I put out the 0.4 update. It's been the biggest update yet, and there's been a few bug fixes, so I've made this video half about the bug fixes, and then a little bit else about what I'm going to be doing on the way towards the 0.5 update. As well as putting out the Steam page, I also finished the 0.4 update. So if we go down here to the patch notes, there's quite a few new features in this one: the rake tool, the day and night cycle, lamp, the street lights, relic items, that little cave for the relic items, the bed, and the harvester. So right now, it's been a couple days since the new update went out, so I've got a few bugs that have been reported from the Patreons. So I'm gonna just go ahead and fix some of those. So start a new game and head over to the first one. Okay, so the first one is to do with this bed item, and it's a bit of an annoying one. If you actually go onto the bed, you can actually skip time just using the bed in the store, and that doesn't exactly work out well because obviously it's meant to be bought and you can just save yourself the money if you just kind of use it. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to make it so the bed can only be used if it's been bought. Instead of just kind of hopping straight into it, you can see I can kind of use it right now. So that's the first bug I need to fix. So that was a pretty simple bug to fix. Each item has got its own Boolean variable, meaning if it's true or false. And this variable basically says, has the item been bought yet? This works hand in hand with if you try and take an item out of a store, it gets deleted instantly. Same system, so I just kind of piggybacked off of that. And when you click on the bed, it checks, has this item been bought? And if it has, then you can use it. So that bug's fixed up. I just tested it off camera, and we are going to look at the next one. And that is, if I press continue to keep playing one of my previous saves where it's the night time, you'll notice that these lanterns are actually turned off, and that is because the lanterns only turn on at a certain time of day. So it'll only turn on if it's sunset, and it'll turn off if it's sunrise. So what I need to do is to make it so when it loads in the loading protocol, after it loads up the hour, it'll load up and figure out, do these lanterns need to turn on or off? Okay, so I've just implemented a bit more code into the saving and loading system that handles if these lights should be on or off after the game has been loaded. So what we're using is the hour value, and the hour value goes from 0 to 24, like you would with normal hours. And if when the game is loaded, the hour value is less than 5.5, which will be 5:30 in the morning, or 18.5, which is 6:30 in the evening, then the lights will turn on. If it isn't, then the lights will just stay off. So if I go back to the menu, which will actually save my game, and then I continue, it'll make sure that these lights are on. So that's most of the bugs fixed. A lot of them I've done off of camera, but it's time to move on to something new. And what I want to do next is actually have a settings menu in the game. Right now I don't really have one because I wanted to put it more towards the end. So this thing, there will be three main parts to the settings. We'll have the graphic options, the audio options, and then key rebindings. But what I want to do is actually change up where the settings is going to go, because right now it's kind of down here, and the Discord logo was right here, but I've moved it over here with some other links. So what I want to do is change the layout of this menu here, and also just include a settings button. Once the settings will be pressed, it'll be like any of these, so maybe the patch notes. It'll just pop up over here, and the user will be able to change their settings. I think I might have two tabs on it as well. I'll have the setting tab and then the key binding tab, so you can click between the two, just to keep everything in one tab. So I've just been playing around with some of these buttons. I moved the settings button up here and then made it look like the rest of the buttons. And I also made it a lot thinner just to fit in with all of this. I think it looks nice. They're easy to use. Sometimes you can just have a bad button layout where the spaces in between them are too thin and you accidentally clicked the wrong ones. But I think this looks nice. So what I'm going to do is now work on the actual panel. This is what I had previously. So now I just need to go ahead and create the changes that I want to make. Okay, after a day of some pretty long and very, very boring code, the settings menu is now almost finished. So right here, what it does is there's kind of two main parts to this. The first part is the initialization. So as soon as I open up this menu, it figures out what my resolution is. It's this right now because I'm in the editor version of the game. I'm also going to change the text color as well. It shouldn't be that color. And then it also figures out which graphics I'm using right now. I'm on Ultra. Everyone who's playing this game, most computers, you should just be fine on Ultra. But I also included just the other ones, just to have them in there. Also having windowed full screen and windowed full screen. I always like to have windowed full screen. I know like some games don't do that, but I think it's easy, especially if you've got two monitors. It's kind of needed. Also just VSync, toggling it on and off, because you know, that's kind of useful to a few people. I wanted to keep these, you know, quite minimal. I didn't want to go into too much, just because I feel like it wasn't really needed. I put in basically all of your standard graphics settings are pretty much just wired into these 4 settings here. So things like your texture quality, your particle effects, your view distance, everything is basically into low, medium, high, and ultra. And then I also put in the audio volume at the bottom. I will split this up into 2 things later on. So sound effects and music will be in 2 separate bars. I haven't got along to key bindings just yet, but I think that's just about it for this week. So that's going to do it for this week. Thanks for watching. If you're interested in checking out Hydroneer, I've got a link to the Steam page down below. If you want to play it right now, you can join the alpha in the Patreon, which link again for that is down below. Thanks for my Patreons. Really, really appreciate you guys. I will see you guys next week.